Today on WAtv News, we travel over to Aquascapes to talk to the pond guy. We give you some safe driving tips, and we update you on some recent IHSA news. Ladies and gentlemen, WAtv starts now. Good afternoon, Wheaton Academy. I'm Zach Gardner, and welcome to our second episode of this second semester and our 26th of the year. Even with the pandemic, Wheaton Academy has found a way for students to get involved, all thanks to Student Council. Tyler Abram reports on the direction Student Council is taking this semester.
Student Council events are always widely anticipated and looked forward to across campus every year. But events are bound to look different this year with COVID-19 restrictions. We have already had homecoming in October, and the Nativity drive-thru and the zoo event in December. But what is coming up next from Student Council? Currently, there are no planned events, but they are brainstorming new ideas. There is potential for more pop-ups like they did last semester, around Halloween and finals week with the kettle corn. But nothing is set in stone. It's a difficult year to plan events, but Student Council remains optimistic about the possibility of such events, like Junior-Senior, making a return. Student Council had their first meeting last week, Thursday, January 28th. And right now, we'll know more soon. I'm Tyler Abrams, WAtv.
Student Council is always planning and brainstorming for the next Wheaton Academy event. Thanks for that report, Tyler. There's been a lot of questions surrounding whether or not sports will have a season this year or not. Reporter Kenna Tolman has more.
Since early March 2020, the coronavirus outbreak has forced the cancellation or postponement of most high school sports in Illinois. The IHSA Board of Directors met on January 27, 2021 to set a schedule for sports to restart.
All of the sports seasons are going to be condensed. And so your traditional winter sports, most of them are playing out right now. And most sports this year are going to have a 6 to 7 week season.
Even though seasons this year will be shortened, both coaches and athletes are grateful to have the opportunity to play.
So with the IHSA's update, this means that WA athletes get to take the field again. We were really thrilled that a number of the fall sports got to compete, but for those sports that got postponed from the fall to the spring, and even last year's spring sports that got canceled, that means they'll get to take the field or take the court.
I genuinely did not know what was going to happen just because news were constantly changing that we were going to have a season, then we weren't. So honestly, I'm super duper thankful just to have a senior season this year.
The IHSA has put COVID precautions in place to make sure athletes are able to practice and compete safely.
We're distancing where possible, wearing masks. And I believe, I'm not sure about this, but I believe the IHSA is going to have some pretty strict guidelines as well for what it means to be able to play safely. So we'll abide by whatever guidelines are out there.
Although things will look different for fans, the Livestream team will be broadcasting every home game to Wheaton Academy's YouTube channel. From WAtv News, I'm Kenna Tolman.
Thank you, Kenna, for sharing that information with us. We're very excited to see the light at the end of the tunnel for Wheaton Academy sports. Reporter Peter Canaris highlights the father of WA senior Blake Whitstock, nicknamed Pond Guy, who has over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Aquascape is a local company that is known globally for their world-renowned ponds. A Wheaton Academy dad named Mr. Greg Whitstock, also known as the Pond Guy, has not only a successful business, but a successful YouTube channel that boasts 186,000 subscribers.
I decided that I wanted to start a pond building business after I got my first real job. I was a lifeguard before that, working at a 9-to-5 job at an office. And I realized quite quickly I didn't like sitting in a desk, and I didn't really like being told what to do. I was kind of always an entrepreneur mindset. And so I'd heard that when you find something you love to do, you never have to work another day of your life. And I love turtles, fish, and frogs from the time I was a little kid. I built my own pond in 1982, and so in 1990, I decided I was going to build ponds. And it took me about a month into my first real job to realize I can build fish ponds and turtle ponds for other people. I figured if I built one pond a month that next summer, I'd make more money than working for somebody else. And I ended up building 5 ponds in 3 months, making $21,000 in sales and clearing $11,000 in profit. So my business was a good idea.
A big takeaway you can get from Mr. Whitstock is stick with what you love. He stuck with what he loves and now is building ponds for people like Shaquille O'Neal and YouTube star Logan Paul. If you're interested in aquascape or just ponds in general, head over to aquascapeinc.com. And if you want to see the process of how Mr. Greg Whitstock builds ponds, check out his YouTube at Greg Whitstock the Pond Guy.
With below freezing temperatures and a significant amount of snow, Tegan Allison gives us the weather forecast for the week.
Thanks, Zach. As you can see, that snow that hit us pretty hardly over the weekend is now in the Indianapolis area. But not for long, since we're getting another system that is now in the Salt Lake City area. It will come later on this week. As you can see, temperatures this week are going to be below freezing. We have a little bit of sun left that will come later today, but then, as I was talking about that snow in Salt Lake City, it's coming in Thursday and Saturday, so be prepared for that cold weather. Today, it'll be around 14 degrees with a bit of sun that will melt some of that snow, but it will turn into ice later on this week. We are going to have another cold weekend with a low of -15 on Sunday. We're going to send it over to Tyler Abrams for a report on safe driving in the snow.
The cold front that passed through last weekend left a lot of wet snow and ice that could impair drivers on the road. We talked to Mr. Thornton for more info on how Wheaton Academy is managing this snowfall and how student drivers can stay safe on the road.
We have a faithful snow removal team here on campus that does a phenomenal job making sure that the parking lot is clear and capable of being driven in. However, we do acknowledge that even with the sun out and things melting, there will be icy conditions at times.
Mr. Thornton also gave the student body some advice on how to drive safely in the parking lots.
And my plea to you is to drive slowly, to be alert of what the conditions are like, and to be ultra conscientious of the fact that there are people walking in the parking lots so that you don't slip when you're driving.
Mr. Burek also provided his advice on how far away from a motor vehicle you should be when driving in icy roads.
And I would say one of the first pieces of advice I would give you is do not sit on top of someone else's car while they are driving it. I've seen you in the parking lot do these things, and it is dangerous, and I care for you and love for you, and I don't want you to get hurt. Okay, make sure you give at least 5 car lengths of space between you and the person in front of you. Last winter, I saw an accident firsthand where someone tried to hit the brakes, but they just kept sliding and sliding until they were in an accident.
All the ice and snow that's formed on the roads from this past weekend, it's important to stay safe and pay attention when you're on the roads. I'm Tyler Abrams from WAtv.
Last week, a local Bloomingdale hotel made national news when a mass shooting involving more than 100 people in it left 1 person dead and several others wounded. Indian Lakes Hotel is now looking at the possibility of being shut down completely as village officials consider revoking all of its licenses. Happier news, Disneyland Resorts announced yesterday that the California Adventure Park will be reopened to guests in March. Although the state of California will not allow the park's attractions to reopen, Disney said they will still offer guests the options of foods, beverages, merchandise, and carefully crafted entertainment experiences. The Super Bowl always attracts the largest television audience each year. Of course, this also attracts the best commercials of the year. DoorDash hit Most People Top 10, starring Daveed Diggs and the beloved characters of Sesame Street. General Motors went on the offensive, introducing a man played by Will Ferrell, who Norway for selling most electric cars per capita than the U.S. And the State Farm commercial didn't disappoint, as it brought in Drake to come alongside the big NFL quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers. And speaking of the Super Bowl, Mitch Carrick gives us a quick report on the big game.
As many of you know, Super Bowl 55 was this past weekend, and it was a great game watching the 2 best teams in the NFL compete. The Super Bowl was between the Kansas City Chiefs, led by Patrick Mahomes, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, led by Tom Brady. The first half of the Super Bowl was a real struggle for the Chiefs, with them only scoring 6 total points. On the other hand, the Bucs were on fire, with Brady passing for 3 touchdowns. Rob Gronkowski was responsible for 2 of those touchdowns and over 50 yards in the first half. In the second half, the Buccaneers came out even stronger than before, with them already having a 15-point lead. Patrick Mahomes was really struggling in the second half with constant pressure on him due to the absence of his 2 starting tackles. The Bucs kept their foot on the gas, with them putting 10 more points up in the second half. The Chiefs' offense was sputtering out of control, with Patrick Mahomes throwing 2 interceptions and only scoring 3 field goals the whole game. Final score was 31-9, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers becoming world champs. After the game, the league commissioner, Roger Goodell, presented the Lombardi Trophy to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady was announced as the game MVP with 3 touchdown passes and over 200 yards. Some interesting facts about the Super Bowl was this was the first time the Super Bowl host made it to the Super Bowl and won. Also, 2 players from Illinois won the Super Bowl, Scotty Miller from Barrington and Cameron Bratt from Naperville. Who will make it next year? Only time will tell. This is Mitchell Carrick from WAtv.
Even though the Bucs won the Super Bowl, Illinois' big winner was the gaming board. With the Chiefs' loss, Illinois sports betting program brought in over $45 million, with $1.1 million going directly to Illinois. Shifting over to our community scoop, here's Mr. Thornton.
Good afternoon, Wheaton Academy, for this week's edition of the Community Scoop. Today is the 100th day of in-person learning. And again, continue to be so pleased and grateful to be here with you day in, day out, even in the midst of the dead of these cold days. Grateful that we are here in the middle of February. 3 quick reminders for us as we're getting the athletics season cranked up, as the fine arts calendar gets going. We've got some stuff going on after school that we didn't really have as active of a calendar in the fall. And for all you athletes, for all you participants in co-curricular activities, these announcements are for you. Just a reminder to self-certify every day. If you fail to self-certify by 7:45, then you will be ineligible to participate after school in practices or games. We need that thing done. Secondly, when you're bringing your possessions into the locker room with you, make sure that you secure them and lock them up after school, or just keep them on you, bring them out to wherever you're practicing to keep your belongings safe. And third, this is going back to a policy that we've had in years past, but with all the in and out this year, I want to clarify for you that to participate in after-school activities, you need to be physically present on campus for at least half of the school day. The only exception to that is if you are a virtual learner and you've opted into virtual learning, and we've granted an exception for you to come after school. That is possible, but the in and out that we see sometimes needs to be shored up. That is, if you're going to participate after school, you need to physically be present here. Just a word of encouragement to you to finish up today. Again, so pleased, so grateful that we're here. And just wanted to remind you that as Psalm 105 says, the Lord our God is good, his love endures forever, and his faithfulness to all generations. He is faithful to us today, Wheaton Academy. We see that in the evidence of all the good that's going on every day in and out, especially in the midst of this spiritual life week. I pray that God moves in your life, demonstrates his faithfulness to you. Be encouraged, Wheaton Academy, and have a great day. Back to the desk.
Thank you, Mr. Thornton. Starting February 15th, the Shamrock Shake from McDonald's becomes available to help celebrate St. Patrick's Day. Reporter Catherine Swallow has more on the history of the shake.
McDonald's famed Shamrock Shake will be back for the months of February and March, starting February 15th. The shake itself has an interesting history, originally created in 1967, nationally debuting in 1970, and then funding the very first Ronald McDonald House in 1974. In 1974, Philadelphia Eagles tight end Fred Hill's daughter was being treated for leukemia. He and his wife had to camp out at the hospital during her treatment, and they watched other parents do the same. The Hills wanted to find a solution, and it came by way of the Eagles' general manager at the time, Jim Murray. He had a friend at the local McDonald's advertising agency, so he was able to learn that the next promotion was for St. Patrick's Day. They were doing Shamrock Shakes. Soon after, there was a week-long promotion centered around the Shamrock Shake, with all the profits to be donated to the cause. Those profits helped buy a house near the hospital. It opened in 1974 as the first Ronald McDonald House. Today, the Shamrock Shake no longer funds the Ronald McDonald House, but there are now houses worldwide that provide refuge for families of children who are receiving extensive medical treatment. From WATv News, I'm Catherine Swallow.
Thank you, Catherine. Behind the scenes of Chapels and Sports, there's a group of hard-working students that help make the live streams what they are. Greta Gustafson highlights an award won by these 4 students this past year.
For over 18 years, Wheaton Academy has had a video production team. Last year, some of its members, Kenna Tolman, Wesley Kersey, Rachel Cobb, and Chas Luchanan, won a Crystal Pillar Award for their outstanding work in video production. We will hear more about the award and its effects on the team.
The Crystal Pillar Award is awarded for excellent video production for a high school. It's an award that's given out by the same people who do the Emmy Awards.
The Livestream team won the Crystal Pillar for the basketball game of Wheaton Academy against Streamwood High School. During the fourth quarter, Streamwood scored the winning shots of the game. Because of the skills and experience that come from working on an award-winning Livestream team, more opportunities have been open to Wheaton Academy Livestream team members.
So I had an internship in St. Louis, and I did some video stuff for that Victory Enterprise company. And my internship host, he said that once I get a little older, he could probably set me up with an internship with either the St. Louis Blues or the Chicago Blackhawks and kind of learn how they stream to their Jumbotrons and stuff.
The Livestream team may also have more awards coming in the future. They have a chance to win a National Student Production Award that will be announced on February 11th.
With more chapels and athletic events being broadcast live this year, the Livestream team is working harder than ever. For WAtv News, I'm Greta Gustafson. Back to you at the desk.
The Livestream team has been working extra hard lately with the Broadway Review and upcoming sports games. We appreciate all that they do. With our 4 things you need to know, here's Osa.
Thanks, Zach. I'm Osa Rocco. I'm here to give you the 4 things you need to know. Number 1, next Monday is a federal holiday. As we celebrate President's Day, enjoy the day and catch up on some much-needed rest. Number 2, our chapels for this week have been Mr. Brooke these past 2 days. Mrs. Hockett will be on Wednesday, Pastor Scott Reed will be on Thursday, and we will conclude with the worship chapel on Friday. Number 3, we have the staff birthdays this week. Wednesday will be Mr. McCallum's birthday. Miss Andrews, our operations coordinator, celebrates hers on Thursday. And on Friday, we will be wishing our Dean of Students, Miss Carwell, a happy birthday. And number 4, since you can't come to support our first game for girls basketball, check out our highlights on the live stream on the Wheaton Academy YouTube channel at 7 p.m. on Saturday night. Back to you at the desk, Zach.
Thanks, Osa. That'll be a wrap for this segment of WATv. Be sure to check out more stories like the ones you saw today on our Instagram at TheRealWATv. From all of us at Studio 22, have a fantastic day.